The lights of the stadium shimmered like 1,000 stars, but all eyes were fixed on the two figures walking hand in hand onto the massive stage. A brother and sister, barely in their teens, their voices had already conquered radio stations, social media feeds, and music charts across the country. Yet as the crowd roared their names, Eben and Zuri, the siblings exchanged a look only they could understand. Because only they knew the pain behind their journey. Only they remembered the night their own mother threw them into the street as if they were strangers. "Before we sing," Eben said softly into the microphone, his voice trembling but steady enough to carry through the hushed arena, "we want to tell you about where we came from. Because we weren't always the kids you see on this stage. 5 years ago, we were just two hungry children begging for a place to sleep." The audience leaned forward. Some put their phones down. Some even held their breath. The story that followed was not one of glamour but of survival, betrayal, and the kind of love only siblings could share. It began on a rainy evening in Port Harcourt. 12-year-old Eben pressed his ear against the wooden door of their one-room apartment. Inside, his mother's voice rose sharp and bitter, slicing through the thin walls. "I cannot do this anymore. 2 mouths to feed, no husband, no money. I am finished." 8-year-old Zuri sat cross-legged on the floor, clutching her small teddy bear, the only thing their late father had bought her before he passed. Her wide brown eyes searched her brother's face for answers. Eben tried to smile, tried to be strong, but his stomach twisted with dread. The door flew open. Their mother stood there, her eyes wild with exhaustion and resentment. "Pack your things," she barked. "You're leaving." Eben's heart hammered. "Where will we go?" he asked, stepping forward. His mother's mouth twisted into a bitter smile. "Anywhere but here. I have carried you too long enough. I need to live my life." Zuri's small voice trembled. "But Mama, Papa said we're family. Families stay together." The slap came so fast it made the air crack. Zuri stumbled, clutching her cheek, tears spilling down. Eben darted forward, rage flooding his small body. "Don't touch her." His mother's eyes flashed with something, guilt, pain. But it vanished as quickly as it came. "You think love feeds children. You think family pays bills. Well, both of you." She grabbed their thin school bags, stuffed with nothing but old exercise books, and shoved them into the hallway. The door slammed behind them. Then came the sound of the bolt locking in place. Eben pounded his fists on the door, begging, pleading. "Mama, please, we'll be good. Don't send us away. We need you." But from inside came only silence. The rain outside was merciless. It soaked through their clothes in minutes, plastering Zuri's braids to her face. She shivered violently, pressing closer to her brother. Eben wiped the rain and tears from his sister's cheeks. "It's okay, Zuri. We'll survive. Somehow." That night, the streets of Port Harcourt became their home. They huddled beneath a rusted shop canopy, their stomachs growling, their bodies cold. The city did not notice them. Passers-by turned away. Shopkeepers hissed insults. Stray dogs snarled. By morning, Zuri was coughing, her tiny hands icy in her brother's grip. 3 days later, hope appeared in the form of an elderly man with a harmonica slung around his neck. They met him by the docks, where Eben was trying to beg for bread. The man's eyes were kind, though worn by years of hardship. "Children, why are you out here alone?" "Our mother. She sent us away," Eben whispered, ashamed to say the words out loud. The man studied them for a long moment. "My name is Baba Tund. I play music for a living, though not much of one. But no child should starve. Come with me. I will feed you." Eben hesitated. Strangers had never been safe. But Zuri's coughing grew worse, and he had no strength left to argue. They followed Baba Tund to a small shack where a pot of beans simmered. The smell alone nearly made them weep. It was there that everything changed. Baba Tund gave them food, then, with a quiet smile, pulled out his harmonica. The melody that flowed from it was haunting, filled with both sorrow and beauty. Zuri's eyes lit up for the first time in days. She began humming along, her soft voice delicate but pure. Eben listened, then found himself singing too. His voice raw but powerful. Baba Tund froze, the harmonica slipping from his fingers. "Children, do you know what gift you carry?" From that night onward he became their teacher. By day, Eben and Zuri sold sachet water on the streets to survive. By night, Baba Tund taught them songs. Folk songs, gospel hymns, even little pieces he composed himself. Eben's voice carried strength, the kind that made people stop in their tracks. Zuri's voice was gentler, a ribbon of sweetness that wrapped around her brother's power, creating something unearthly when they sang together. Word spread across the docks about the children with voices like angels. Fishermen tossed them coins. Market women wept quietly as they listened. For the first time since being abandoned, Eben and Zuri felt something stir inside them, hope. Years passed. They grew stronger, their voices sharper. Then one day, Baba Tund handed them a flyer. The National Youth Music Showcase. Winners get a recording contract. This is your chance, children. Take it. The competition was fierce. Wealthy children in shiny clothes, with voice coaches and choreographers, crowded the stage. Eben and Zuri had none of that. They had only their voices, their story, and each other. When their turn came, the siblings clasped hands and stepped into the spotlight. Eben's voice began low, trembling with years of buried pain. Zuri's rose to meet it, soft and steady, weaving around his notes like sunlight through storm clouds. They sang not just words but their lives, the betrayal, the hunger, the survival, the love that bound them together when the world tried to tear them apart. The audience was silent. Some wiped their eyes. Some clasped their hands as if in prayer. By the final note, the arena erupted. People leapt to their feet, clapping, cheering, sobbing. Judges wiped tears from their faces. Eben and Zuri won that night. But more than winning, they became a voice for every child who had ever been abandoned. Their songs, rooted in pain, carried healing. Their melodies, born of hunger, gave hope. Backstage, as reporters swarmed them, Zuri whispered to her brother, "Do you think Mama is watching?" Eben looked at her, his heart heavy but steady. "Maybe. But whether she is or not, we'll keep singing. Not for her. For us. For every child like us." Years later, as the siblings stood before a roaring crowd of 50,000, they sang again. This time, their voices were not just cries of survival, but anthems of triumph. And somewhere, in a dim apartment far away, their mother sat alone in front of a flickering television, watching the children she had thrown away become superstars.